This presentation focuses on explaining the basic concept of OFIP, a proprietary business model that produces financial work of higher quality and at a lower cost. Intelligenxe has been the company that has designed and optimized the OFIP business model and thus owns this intellectual property. Intelligenxe has self-financed OFIP's development by using OFIP itself as its business model. Intelligenxe's mission is to exploit OFIP. The large-scale development of the company is expected to revolutionize Wall Street. The companies of interest to Intelligenxe are the financial services companies, sometimes referred to as FSCs. Financial services companies, or FSCs for short, include investment banks, brokerages, and asset management companies, such as mutual funds and hedge funds. Financial services companies also include commercial banks, accounting firms, venture capital funds, pension funds, private equity firms, and others. But in this presentation, the focus will be on investment banks and asset management companies. It is very useful to identify the main goal or challenge of financial services companies. In the case of investment banks, their main goal or challenge is to pick outstanding client companies to work with and help them maximize their growth. The way investment banks contribute to their client companies' growth is by helping them perform transactions such as IPO financings, mergers, acquisitions, restructurings, among others. Now, the most important observation to be made here is that the key to performing these transactions successfully is the high-quality research on which the transactions are based. For example, if an investment bank wants to do an IPO successfully, it needs to do high-quality research on various IPO candidates so as to be able to pick the most promising company. Therefore, clearly high-quality research or due diligence is the key to success in investment banking. Similarly, in the case of asset management companies, such as mutual funds and hedge funds, the key to success is the high-quality research on which their investment decisions are based. This is because the main challenge funds basically have is to predict the future values or prices of their assets under management. And the only way asset prices can be predicted successfully is by performing high-quality research on the assets. Therefore, it must be emphasized that high-quality financial research or due diligence is the key to success for investment banking and asset management. In fact, the primary importance of financial research or due diligence may be generalized to most financial activities. The main problem or limitation that financial companies have is that they are limited in the amount of high-quality research they can produce. This is because of the high cost of the skilled labor that is necessary to produce it. This graph shows the various expenses components as well as the total expenses of investment banks. It shows that compensation, that is, employees' salaries, is by far the largest component of the total expenses of investment banks. Therefore, financial companies cannot hire huge numbers of research analysts or financiers as this would negatively affect their profitability. Although this industry data is from year 2001, it perfectly illustrates this limitation that always exists. The high cost of skilled labor therefore leads to insufficient or superficial research. This is clearly evident in this graph that includes data from various investment banks and shows the number of stocks that each of their equity analysts on average follows. It can be seen that at companies like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley, each of their equity research analysts follows, on average, close to 8 stocks, which is an overwhelming task. Although this industry data is from year 2001, it perfectly illustrates this point. This view graph is probably the most important one for understanding the basic concept of Intelligenxe's invention, namely, the OFIP business model. OFIP is the name given to this innovative business model for financial services companies and stands for Online Financial Internship Program. The OFIP business model enables financial companies to produce better financial research work and at a lower cost than what is produced by traditional financial companies using traditional or legacy business models. In particular, The OFIP business model enables each analyst at a financial company to be assisted by various interns. These assistants or interns are MBA students or undergraduate or graduate university students in finance, economics, or other relevant fields. For example, in the previous view graph it was noted that in traditional investment banks each equity research analyst follows, on average, 8 stocks, which is quite an overwhelming task. By contrast, in investment banks that use the OFIP business model, each analyst following this many stocks is assisted by various interns, whose job is to help the analyst follow the various stocks. Therefore, the most important difference to be observed in this example is that an equity research analyst, who is assisted by various OFIP interns, is likely to produce better research than a traditional analyst, who is not assisted by interns. This is because the work of an analyst who is assisted by various OFIP interns is likely to include more information than the work of a traditional analyst who is not assisted by interns. For this reason, the OFIP business model enables financial companies to produce research work that is more thoroughly than what is produced by traditional financial companies using traditional business models. The second most important observation about the OFIP business model to be made in this example is that its production of higher quality work comes at basically no additional cost. This is because OFIP interns work for the purpose of gaining practical experience and are not paid a salary. In addition, because of internet and cloud resources available, OFIP interns do not require office space or equipment as they perform their work online from their homes or schools. Also, OFIP interns do not require that much supervision because they are guided mostly through self-explanatory instructions shown on private intranets and tutorial videos. Consequently, the OFIP business model is clearly a revolutionary business model as it enables financial companies to perform their work more thoroughly and at a relatively lower cost. It should be mentioned that the above simple example explains only the basic concept of the OFIP business model. In its more elaborate designs, OFIP includes proprietary methods and other intellectual property that enable it to maximize the quality of the work produced by OFIP interns. In the previous example, the basic concept of the OFIP business model was explained as applied to the production of equity research. However, it's important to note that OFIP can also be used in various other areas of the financial services companies, including credit research, corporate finance, asset management, sales and marketing, compliance, etc. In other words, the financiers working at the various different areas of the financial companies can always benefit from being assisted by various OFIP interns. The field of incentivizing and aggregating the work of various people for the performance of a specific task is called collective production. This field is also called collaborative production, or peer-to-peer, or P2P production. The advent of the internet and the cloud has made this field more practical. In fact, various revolutionary applications of this field have emerged along with the internet, including the Linux operating system, the search engine Google, and Wikipedia. Likewise, the OFIP business model is a revolutionary application of this field. In OFIP, the challenge has been to create proprietary methods to maximize the quality of the work produced by the groups or communities of OFIP interns who assist the financiers at the financial companies.